Ladies and gentlemen of the Action Army, what is going on? And welcome to another video, and welcome to day 21 of Dunk Every Day, where every single day in 2023, I am dunking a basketball in efforts to increase my vertical jump. And not only am I dunking a basketball every single day, I am training every single day with my Indestructible Knees and my Beyond the Rim 2 programs. And not only am I dunking every day and training every day, but I am bringing you, all of you in the Action Army, an informational, an educational, a scientific, and hopefully entertaining video every single day that you can use to increase your own vertical jump. So here we go. Today's video is 4 exercises or 4 drills that you can use to improve your penultimate step in 2-foot jumping. So let's get it. What is the penultimate step, and why do we give a crap about it? The penultimate step is the second to last step in 2-foot jumping. So if you're doing a 2-foot vertical jump, think about yourself. Are you a right-left jumper or a left-right jumper? Because if you're a right-left jumper, meaning your right foot plants before your left foot, then your right foot is your penultimate step. Your left foot is your block foot. If you're a left-right jumper, that means your left foot you use for your penultimate step, and your right foot is the block foot. So whether you're a single leg jumper and you want to improve your 2-foot jump, or you're a 2-foot jumper and you want to continue to improve your 2-foot jump, these are 4 exercises that will help you do that. And the reason the penultimate step is so important is because the penultimate step helps us actively lower our hips and lower our center of gravity so that we can get that equal and opposite reaction, that spring effect, back up into the air when we do the concentric portion of the jump. So here are 4 exercises that you can use to improve your penultimate step and make it faster, more efficient, more powerful, and to solidify the technique. That is the most important thing, because the penultimate is a skill. The penultimate step is a skill. It is very technique based. That's very important to know, especially for a few of these exercises. So exercise number 1. To improve your penultimate step and your 2-foot jumping in general is the push-punch drill. And I got this actually from Project Pure Athlete. So make sure that you follow Project Pure Athlete. I will link them down below in the description of this video. But they're probably the best YouTube channel and the best resource when it comes to technique for vertical jump in general. So I got this for them. So thank you to the Project Pure Athlete. But this is called the push-punch drill. And you are pushing through your penultimate step, and then you are punching your block foot and then jumping into the air. So this is just repping out the last 2 steps of any 2-foot vertical jump, the penultimate step and the block foot. You push and then you punch and then you jump in the air, repping it out, because like I said earlier, the penultimate is a skill. The penultimate step is technique based, and it is a skill, and you have to solidify that motor pattern by jumping over and over and over, or doing drills like the push punch drill. So the main thing about the push punch drill is that when you do it correctly, it will feel effortless. This is one of those drills and exercises that you can feel whether or not you're doing it right. If you're doing it wrong, it will feel very clunky, it will feel awkward, but if you're doing it correctly, it will feel very effortless, it will feel smooth, it will feel very good. So if you're stepping too shallow, it's not going to feel good. If you're stepping too long with your penultimate, it's not going to feel good. If you're having trouble transferring that horizontal momentum into vertical, it's not going to feel good. If your arm swing is off, it's not going to feel good. So what you need to do is, during your penultimate, as soon as you push, your arms go back, and then when you punch, your arms come through and transfer that momentum from horizontal into vertical into the air. And you don't want to step too shallow, because if you step too shallow, your hips are not going to drop enough, your center of mass will not drop enough, and you will not get as deep down. And then if you don't get as deep down, you can't get as much of a spring-like effect through the concentric portion of the vertical jump into the air for a very high vertical jump. If you step too far, if your penultimate is too long, you will lose momentum, and you also won't be able to transfer the horizontal momentum into vertical as efficiently as possible, and you won't be able to effectively plant your block foot, and it will just not feel right if you step too shallow or too far in this push punch drill. So what I want you to do for sets and reps of the push punch drill is I want you to do 3 sets of 4 reps off of your strong 2-foot approach. Off of your weaker 2-foot approach, I want you to do 4 sets of 4 reps. So all of us, most of us, there's very few people that have very similar right, left, and left, right 2-foot jumps. But like for me, for example, I am predominantly a right-left jumper. So that is my strongest approach. My left-right is not as strong as my right-left. So I would want to do 3 sets of 4 reps off of my right-left, and then 4 sets of 4 reps off of my left-right to try to bring that up and get it even with my right-left so that both approaches are even. We got to eventually try to get them even. So that is the first exercise to help you increase the efficiency of your penultimate step, the push punch drill. Exercise number 2 is one of my favorites. It is a band resisted penultimate step. So think about a dumbbell box jump. You are jumping with resistance. Think about a sled pull. You are sprinting with resistance. The penultimate step, the band resisted penultimate step, you are doing the penultimate with resistance. So it's going to make it more efficient. It's going to make it more powerful. It's going to make it faster when you take the band off. However, there's a very important thing here. You don't want the band to be so heavy that you don't want to use such a heavy band and so much resistance that your penultimate step doesn't actually look like your penultimate step. It has to resemble the same motor pattern. You have to be using the same technique as if you didn't have the band there. So even though it's resisted, don't go so heavy that now you can't stride as far with your penultimate step, because then it's not, it is a skill, as I've been saying. So if you're repping something out that is not the same as the skill that you use when you do a vertical jump, then it's not going to transfer to your vertical jump. It has to be the same motor pattern, the same skill, the same technique to transfer to your vertical jump. And this one is the same. Actually, every single exercise that I'm going to give you is exactly the same in the sets and reps. So for this one, I would do 3 sets of 4 reps off of your stronger approach, and then 4 sets of 4 reps off of your weaker approach. But this is the band resisted penultimate drill. We are doing the penultimate with bands to resist us so that we can get stronger through this movement. But as I said, make sure that you don't use such heavy bands that you can't do the proper technique. Exercise number 3 is a band accelerated penultimate step. Not a band resisted, a band accelerated penultimate step. So now what we are doing in the band, we are still anchoring our band to a railing or a squat rack, and we are now turning around and we are using the band to pull us forward. So instead of actively going into the resistance of the band, we are using the resistance of the band. We are using the band to help pull us, to assist us, to accelerate us faster than we can normally do our penultimate step. Without the band, you can only do your penultimate step as fast as your body can do your penultimate step. If you have a band pulling you, you can now do it faster than you can normally do your penultimate step. So this exercise, these band accelerated penultimate steps, are good for 2 reasons. The first reason is because it teaches your brain and your nervous system in the motor pathway, it teaches it to be more efficient and go faster than you are used to. So when you do this with the band accelerated vertical jumps, you're basically whispering to the central nervous system, hey bro, go tell the brain that we want to do this faster than normal. Go tell them that we want to solidify this neural pathway and do it faster and faster and faster so that it becomes more efficient. And that is exactly what happens. When you do these, the central nervous system goes and tells the brain, hey bro, we got to be able to do this faster because he's going to be using bands to pull us quicker than normal. So we need to get used to that. We need to be ready for that if he ever does that again. So that is reason number 1, because your central nervous system and your brain begin to solidify that motor pattern, and it becomes faster and faster and more efficient when you use bands to move more quickly than normal. But as I have been saying this entire video, it is a skill. It is a skill. So the band accelerated penultimate step, just like the band resisted penultimate step, has to resemble the actual motor pattern of your penultimate step. It can't be clunky. It can't be not your normal technique. It has to resemble your actual technique of your penultimate step. So that's the reason number one. Reason number two is because this drill is great at teaching you to properly use your block foot to stop your horizontal momentum, use your block foot, and transfer that horizontal momentum into vertical momentum. So a lot of people have the problem is when they go to do the penultimate in their block foot, instead of jumping straight up, they jump out, and they can't really get that block foot to really transfer into vertical momentum. So this exercise is very good for that because you are moving quicker. It teaches your block foot, hey, we want to transfer this horizontal momentum into vertical momentum. So once again, this is 3 sets of 4 reps with your strong approach and 4 sets of 4 reps with your weak approach. Exercise number 4, and the final exercise that I'm going to give you in this video to improve your penultimate step, and this one is really good to improve the power of your penultimate step. The other ones, you know, the band resisted, that's great for power, but the push punch drill, that's really good to solidify the technique. The band accelerated is very good to solidify the technique, to make sure that our neural pathways are firing faster than normal. But this one is really good for power in general, to transfer that horizontal momentum into a powerful vertical leap. It is a penultimate depth jump. So for this one, I would like you to use a 6-inch box or a 12-inch box. An 18-inch box is okay, but once you go higher than that, it's really not going to resemble the technique of your penultimate step. So a 12-inch box is probably the sweet spot for most of you watching this video, but what you're going to do is you're going to do a depth jump. You know, a depth jumps are great for the stretch shortening cycle, for reactive strength, although the stretch shortening cycle, it's a little bit slower as opposed to a drop jump, but that's besides the point. It's great for force production. Depth jumps are one of the best exercises that you can do to increase your vertical jump. So the penultimate depth jump, you're going to push off the box in your penultimate step. And then what I like to do is either jump up onto a box or jump over a hurdle or jump up and touch a vertex. So if you want to really jump as high as you possibly can, you would touch a vertex or a high object, or you could jump over a hurdle. If you want to minimize the force from your landing, then you would do your penultimate step and you would land on another box. So I use all of these with my athletes. I use all of these with myself, and I use a lot of these in my Beyond the Rim programs. But the penultimate depth jump is going to be great, not only just for the technique, but more so for the power behind your penultimate step and teaching you to really have that powerful transfer of horizontal momentum into a very powerful vertical leap. So for this one, I would do the same sets and reps. Same sets and reps all the way through for all 4 of these exercises. 3 sets of 4 reps off of your strong approach, 4 sets of 4 reps off of your weak approach, so that we could try to bring this up. So guys, these are 4 exercises or 4 drills that you can add into your repertoire. Look at that word, my vocabulary going up. To increase your 2-foot vertical jump and jump higher and dunk on anyone. Anyways, guys, now I have a medium intensity day, so we're gonna dunk on 9.6 today, which is feeling easier and easier as we go. And then I do wanna answer a few questions about previous videos at the end of this video. I might make that a segment. So yesterday I posted about triphasic training. I tried to answer as much as I could about triphasic training, and then we had a bunch of questions in the comment section. So at the end of the videos, I might use the end of the videos to answer questions that people had about the previous video, just so that we can make the series more helpful for all of you, and so that everybody who is commenting and asking questions can get all their questions answered. But anyways, let's go dunk.
10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. Anything I do for the gang. Took those L's and I took that blame. All money in, we ain't copping no chain. Feel like Ice Cube, cause a dead good day. Don't need 3 whips, don't need no race. I'ma keep it simple in the
All right, guys, so here is what we are going to do. Yesterday, I made a video on the topic of triphasic training, and there were a lot of questions on that video, some that had to do with triphasic training and some that were just other general questions. And I want to know if all of you want me to make a short segment at the end of every single video where I answer your questions from yesterday. That way, if I create a video topic and you have some questions about that video, I can just answer it in the next video. So let me know if you want to do this, but we'll try it out today. So here are the questions that I got, and I can't answer all of them, but I'll answer a good amount, and I'll try to go quick with it so that this video doesn't take super long because this is already a long video. But let's get into the questions. First question is from Bjorn Fisher. I hope I said that name right. I probably didn't, but he says, what I'm asking myself is when I think about the eccentrics in a 2-foot vertical jump after the penultimate step, I have to absorb all the forces and rapidly then turn it into an explosive concentric movement. Wouldn't it make more sense to train it that way in our squats and split squats as well? Let yourself fall into the eccentric, try to absorb it rapidly, and then reverse that motion. You never do slow eccentrics in the actual sport, but I guess it's still good to work on overall eccentric strength, even if it's slow. And then he says, oh, just got to the end of the video. I see you mentioning it there. So what you really want to do, and this is what all trainers do, all trainers go straight to the concentric phase or the reversal reps, which those are good. You need those to increase your vertical jump and to maximize the stretch shortening cycle. But you do need, I think, and Cal Dietz and a lot of other trainers think that you do need to spend some extra time emphasizing that eccentric because it better teaches your body and your stretch reflex and your stretch shortening cycle to absorb force. And the more force that you can absorb, the more force that you can then use for the explosive concentric. It's just like that depth jump test where they did the study. If you can't absorb the force, then you can't reproduce the force or produce the force in a concentric movement. So don't try to build explosiveness without the backbone of strength underneath. You need a good foundation of strength and eccentric strength to very rapidly switch into that concentric. So great question. Next question is from Totally Raw, who says, typically, how many reps per set in the back squat and split squat when doing the eccentric and isometric phases? I normally do 5 sets of 3 reps to 5 reps. So 5 sets of 3, 5 sets of 4, or 5 sets of 5. And I know that's not super high volume, but you have to understand that these eccentric and isometrics are very taxing on the body. You are going slow down for 4 to 5 seconds. And then for the isometrics, you're going down fast, holding it and exploding up. So normally I do 5 sets of 3 reps for my athletes, but I can see you going up to 5 sets of 5 reps. YC99 says, I wanna ask, can I do triphasic for straight bar deadlift, eccentric using RDL, isometric using RDL hold, lastly, concentric phase using deadlift? I wouldn't. And Cal Dietz, he talks about it in his book. He says that there's just a higher risk factor when you are doing the post chain and holding in a deadlift position or holding in an RDL position. That's not to say you can't do it, because you can. Like if I think about myself, I could definitely get away with doing it and I wouldn't get hurt. Hopefully, now that I'm old and fat and yeah, but I wouldn't do it. I would stick with a back squat and an RFESS because they're safer movements. But if you are very safe with it and you really want to do that, maybe you can. It's just holding something in an RDL position is just a risk position for your back, your lower back. So that's what I would say. So take it as you will. We got a question that doesn't really have to do with triphasic, but I answered it. Wasn't sure exactly what this athlete meant, but he said, hi, what about calves? I said, train them. He said, gym or jump? And then somebody else said, train them. So you want to do both for your calves. You want to do your calf raises, your weighted calf raises, and you also want to do your plyometrics with your calf raises, like pogo jumps. So yes, train your calves and do both gym and jump. We got a question from Lift and Leap. That's a pretty good name, Lift and Leap. What else do you want? Your explanations are perfect. Thank you so much for this. Any chance you would care to explain how not to lose your max strength when doing a speed or power phase? I seem to lose my squat and deadlift numbers quickly, and I think I'm not using the correct amount of volume on my sets and reps according to my 1 rep max properly. Maybe I'm focusing on speed too much and not going heavy enough, or just need to add a strength day in between. I'm sure it would make for a good video. I can make a full video on this, but just a quick explanation. So, as I stated in a previous video, you should have your phases laid out: hypertrophy, strength, power, speed. The way that you don't lose strength in the power and the speed phase is you just add in a full strength day, a heavy day where you are focusing on your strength once every 4 workouts. That's a very easy way to do it. So you might have, speed, power, speed, strength, or power, just once every 4 workouts, hit a heavy strength day. And that will maintain your strength, because speed and explosiveness is a parameter that you can gain or lose in 7 days. If you don't train your speed for 7 days, you start to really get rusty and get a little bit slower. Strength is plus or minus 30 days. Cardiovascular endurance is plus or minus 30 days. So strength is one of those things that you can get your strength up, and then you can just touch on it periodically and your strength will stay high. And I would do 5 sets of 5 reps when I do that. So 5 sets of 5 reps, as heavy as you can when you do your strength days. And on that strength day, do everything for strength. So do heavy back squats, then do Nordic curls or heavy Romanian deadlifts, and then do heavy calves. Like, everything on your heavy day, on your strength day, should be for strength. You need a full strength day, unless you're doing mixed training, but if you're really trying to maintain your strength, everything heavy in that day, once every 4 workouts. I hope this answers your question. Let me know if it did not. Sharon Mikolai. I'm terrible with these names. He says, "Hi coach, I have a question about knee tendon pain. Do you recommend resting your athlete completely from games, high intense practice, and only do isometrics, low intense plyos, and posterior chain work? Does it differ on the pain level too?" So if you can rest from games and high intense practice and only do isometrics and low intense plyos and posterior chain work, then I would do that. That is gonna fix your knees faster. It's just when athletes are in season, who wants to miss the season? So that's where most athletes, they don't want to rest from their games and practices. But if you can, then you should. If that is an option for you, that is the best thing to do, because the number 1 cause of tendon pain is overuse. You're overusing it. You're loading too much. So you'll never fix your tendon pain with more load. Let me say that again. If you are overloading your tendons, you will never fix your tendon pain with adding more load in. The only way that you can fix your tendon pain with adding more load in is isometrics 3 times a day, in isometrics that are not too tough, and that, if you do that correctly, can build up your tendons and the collagen fibers in your tendons to the point where you can start to come back while you are still in season. That is the only way that I have found with my athletes, and not with myself, because when I was in season, I couldn't figure it out. But now with some of my athletes, that does work. But if you can remove all of that, if you can remove the load that is causing your tendon pain, then I would do that. You will come back so much quicker. Sky says, "Hi Coach Nathanael Morton, I'm really confused on how I should increase my squat strength. You were saying in your video a few days ago that you increase your squat like 40 to 50 pounds as your set goes on. For example, 135, 185, 235, 285, 335. I thought the thing is that you should add 5 to 15 pounds in your squat each week." Yada yada yada. So I get what you're saying here. So those were warm-up sets for me. So I think you're talking about the video when I talk about back when I was bodybuilding, and I would normally, when I was bodybuilding, I would warm up with 95 pounds. Then I would move to 135. Then I would move to 185. Then I would move to 225, then I would move to 275, then I would move to 315. So it's just a 25 on, 45, add a 25, 45, 25, 45. My working sets weren't until I got all the way to 315. So those were just warming me up to that. So what you want to do to increase your squat strength is warm up through the movement, do a couple warm-up sets, and then hit your sets with your squats. So you can do 135 and then the next week do 145 and then the next week do 155, and you could do all of your sets at 155, but you have to warm up to that weight first. I didn't want to go in the gym and just put 315 pounds on the bar. So warm up to your working sets and then hit your working sets. And you still can increase weight each set. It really doesn't matter. What matters is at the end of each week, how much volume did you have with your squat? What weight did you use with your squat? And make sure to progressive overload next week. So it doesn't matter if you go up in weight each set or you have 5 working sets that are the same week, as long as you are increasing the volume week to week. And that is it, guys. Those are the questions. If you answer, and that is it, guys. Those are the questions that I got so far. If you asked a question on this video and I didn't answer it, it's because it wasn't here yet, and you asked it too late before I made this video. So if you want me to continue this segment, let me know down below. But anyways, this has been episode 21 of Dunk Every Day. I will see you tomorrow for episode 22. I have a game tomorrow, so it's going to be tougher to record a full video. Maybe I'll do a Q&A on vertical jump or something like that. That might be fun. But anyways, Action Army, make sure that you take action, because knowledge is not power. It is only potential power until you take action on what you know. The only way that you truly know something is to take what you know and create a result from it in your life. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no